Now I continue in 1 Timothy chapter number 3. We've made it down to verse number 11. We're talking about the qualifications of the deacon's wife. And I pointed out the fact that the pastor's wife, the bishop's wife, there are no qualifications necessarily that are given to her, but there are qualifications that are appropriated here to the matter of the wife of the deacon. Even so must their wives be grave, not slanderers, sober, faithful in all things. And I dealt with the matter of slanderers on the Bright Spot Hour on the program yesterday. Not slanderers, but on the contrary, they are to be sober. And by sober, whenever we talk about this word sober, of course, I am a teetotaler now. I've never had a drop of alcohol as a beverage in my body in my life. I don't believe the Bible condones the area of using alcoholic beverages. I don't think the Bible condones social drinking or drinking in private. And don't write to me now and waste my time reading your letter and your postage trying to straighten me out on that. I know there is some debate among men today whether or not it's all right or permissible to drink in private or to drink socially, but I don't participate in that. I've never had a drop of alcohol in my life, and I'm too far down the road to start drinking now. I'm just not going to do that. I don't use tobacco of any kind, and I'm certainly not going to use alcoholic beverages of any kind. But by being sober, the word sober carries the idea of being temperate. Being temperate, not only abstaining from alcoholic beverages or intoxicants. And whenever we say somebody is intoxicated, they are overpowered by the effect of alcoholic beverages. They become overpowered by that. An individual that is intoxicated is not thinking on their own. On occasion, I've heard men say, well, that was the liquor speaking through him. Well, that's it in a nutshell. That's the point. A person that is sober is restrained. You get somebody full of drugs or full of alcohol, and they'll say a whole lot of things that they would never say otherwise. And the reason for that is all human beings have an amount of temperance that is built into them. Sometimes people say, I just wish I could say the first thing that comes to mind. No, you don't. You really don't wish you could say the first thing that came to mind, because you would hurt a lot of feelings and offend a lot of people and have very few friends. The matter of being sober is not being intoxicated or not being overpowered by the spirit of liquors or to be drunken. Now, also the word sober carries with it the understanding of not being insane or mad. On occasion we run into people in society, and you and I have seen them both, and they do have a chemical imbalance in their body. They have emotional problems, as the psychologists and psychiatrists like to say. You and I understand that they're mad. In fact, Paul the Apostle was accused of this. He said, much learning doth make thee mad. And to be mad is to be insane. Someone that is insane is somebody that is wild, or they are, well, I want to use the word visionary, but they have just an unreal ideas, unreal concepts that come to mind. Somebody that is mad may become heated with passion in an argument or in a conversation, or they may have they won't have a cool disposition. They become impassioned easily. They go into a rage. All of us have seen people from time to time that are like that. They become set off and they go into a rage. They throw things. They curse wildly. the record is of Secret Service agents that we've had a presidential couple that's been in the White House in the last 25 years that was this way, especially the wife would go into a violent rage and would throw lamps and throw furniture and throw things and curse wildly, become completely impassioned in rage. Well, that is the definition of insanity. That Noah Webster in the 1828 dictionary says that conduct like that is the definition of insanity. The person that would do that is mad. And I don't care if they live in the White House or not. It doesn't matter to me if they're male or female. If they would go into a rage like this, they are not sober. They are not sober-minded. When somebody is said to be sober, and the deacon's wife is stated here that she is to be sober. She's to be grave, not slanderous, sober. And by soberness, we understand this to be someone that is regular and calm in their disposition. Someone that is regular and calm in their disposition. On occasion, we would say it like this: that person is the same today as he was yesterday. Or we might say it like this: that man or woman is very predictable. They're just predictable from day to day. You're not going to be surprised. Now, I have said about my late grandfather, my grandfather was one of the greatest people I ever knew. I'm talking about a man. He was 36 inches to the yard and 16 ounces to the pound. And I've made a comment about my grandfather that he always was on an even keel. He was always on an even keel. Yes, I saw my grandfather when he was upset, but I never saw my grandfather go into an impassioned rage. I've seen him when he shouted and when he was rejoicing, but I've never seen my grandfather when he was out of control. I've never seen him when he was out of control. And that is what we mean by somebody that is sober, somebody that is regular. They have a passion, but they don't become controlled by their passion. There are many things that passion would cause a man or a woman to do. On occasion, there are people that we call it passion buying. And man, they'll buy a $500,000 piece of property in passion. And then after the passion goes away, they have a bad case of buyer's remorse, and they wonder, why in the world have I done this? There's some men that sit down at a gambling table, and I don't know how to shuffle a deck of cards. I don't know how to play cards, and I don't ever plan to learn how to play cards. I have far too many other things that I can enjoy as a hobby to learn how to shuffle a deck of cards. But there are times in an impassioned card game when somebody will gamble away something that is, they really have no business gambling away. They can't afford to gamble away in the midst of passion. I think one of the reasons people love auctions so much, and I've been to many auctions over the course of my life, and I've seen people because I've done it, overpay for an item or a commodity in the heat of the auction, and they would overpay for something. And many years, decades ago now, I was at a particular sale, and I made a purchased an automobile, and after the dust settled and I got ready to pay for the automobile, I discovered I had paid too much. And I wound up driving that automobile for several years to drive my money out of it. I didn't realize when I was bidding that I was paying more than would allow me to make a profit on it. And I wound up having to drive the car and just use it up as a runner, you see. To be sober-minded is someone that is regular in their judgment. It is a man or a woman that is of sober senses. They don't become governed by passion. They don't become overwhelmed by the passion of the moment. But they are clear-minded and sober-minded. They have a clear understanding. They are thinking reasonably and logically. They're not thinking from their passion, but they're thinking seriously. They are solemn. They are grave in their decisions that are to be made. Now, this is a requirement of the deacon's wife. The bishop is to possess this kind of conduct. The bishop is to be sober, and I dealt with that on broadcast in days gone by. But the deacon's wife is to be characterized and governed by a soberness, a seriousness, a regularness. They are to be on an even keel. They're not to be up one day and down the next, and on one day and off the next, and 10 feet tall one day and down below the curb on the other day. That's the definition of someone that is insane. Someone that becomes governed by their passions. Someone that has wild and outlandish ideas. That is the definition of insanity. But soberness is calmness. One that is not under the influence of their passion. Now, my time is gone on the Bright Spot Hour today. Tomorrow, I want us to come back, and with the Lord's help, I want to deal with the last area. That is the matter and the area of faithfulness in all things. I hope you'll be hearing the Bright Spot Hour at that time.
Correspondence may be sent to the Bright Spot Hour, Post Office Box 4, Greenville, South Carolina 29.